Oi, pessoal, sou Fernanda Talarico, aqui de Splash, e hoje eu vou conversar com Chris McNeil, que ele é, bom, conhecido por ser o neto do casal Warren, que é bem famoso pelos filmes, né, de Invocação do Mal aqui no Brasil, e ele vai vir ao Brasil para a Expo Horror, então a gente vai bater um papo para falar um pouco dos avós, de Invocação do Mal, enfim. So, hi, Chris. Thank you for talking to me today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
And can you introduce yourself, please?
Certainly. As you already mentioned, I'm the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I have been carrying on their work since 1980. Um, I am the director of the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. We are a worldwide organization that helps people for free and anonymously everywhere where they might be troubled by the paranormal, or at least think they're troubled by the paranormal. Often, what we deal with is not paranormal at all, and that's perfectly okay. We're here to help.
And can I call the foundation here in Brazil, for example?
You don't call us, you get a hold of us through our website or through Facebook here with me. I recommend www.warrenlegacy.com or warrenfiles.com. The Warren Files, by the way, is the name of our YouTube channel where we have over 100 videos where we teach people about the paranormal. Often fear is the real problem and ignorance. And, people will hear footsteps in the hallway at night and they think it's the devil come to visit. And it's really just their grandmother or the old man that lived in the house for 35 years before you moved in. And he doesn't want to leave. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Are you Catholic?
No, I am not. I am a pastor, but I am a pastor without any religion. I have studied all of the major religions of the world, as well as many much smaller religions. I've been lucky enough to live in over 90 places in the world, from Africa to the Middle East to Nepal, India, and all throughout Central and South America and Europe. And I have found that God doesn't care about what your personal religion is. God cares how you practice your faith. God cares that you are seeking God. And he will answer your prayers regardless of what your faith is.
So are you an exorcist?
Yes, but people should understand that exorcism is incredibly rare. I've been doing this work now for over 43 years. And I have only either personally led or participated in a little more than a dozen exorcisms. They are very, very rare. And demons, by the way, are not what people think they are. They're not fallen angels. They are culturally specific. In other words, if you are in the Middle East, you will be attacked by jinn, not by the devil. If you're in India, it's going to be a Hindu or a Muslim demon. It won't be a Christian demon. So that tells me that what we're dealing with here is something completely different than what we think it is.
So when you are trying to help someone with supernatural things, you do mix everything you learn in your life, not only use about like the Catholic exorcism or something.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I'll share a personal experience that just happened to me. I was under spiritual attack, and it went on for 3 months. And that is something that I don't have a problem believing in spirits attacking me. I've had that happen many, many times in my life. But this was a directed magical attack. And I have a real reluctance to believe in magic. To me, it's quantum physics at work. So I had a real hard time with that. But my grandmother, Lorraine, came back and visited 6 different people to warn me, including 4 of them on the same night, saying, Christopher has an attachment. He needs to shut the door. I know of certain rituals, and I used a voodoo ritual to do a spiritual cleanse of my own personal body to wipe away that attachment. I also did Psalm 23 over it as I was preparing the mixture. And then I used a Catholic ritual to completely spiritually cleanse the home. So yes, I will use whatever it takes, because for me, ritual is only a way of focusing one's faith and very clear intentions to contact God and to seek an outcome. That's why it works.
I'm impressed, and that's so nice. Have you ever been in Brazil, and do you know anything about our religions here?
Oh, absolutely. I lived there for 8 months in Rio during the pandemic, unfortunately. But I had the opportunity to work in an Umbanda, or not work, but study in an Umbanda temple in Portugal, which comes, of course, from Brazil. It's an Afro-Brazilian religion, and it's a fascinating religion. I really enjoyed learning about that. When I come there this time, I hope to learn more about Kimbanda, Umbanda, and all of the other more native religions that are there. You have an incredibly rich and vibrant set of cultures, and I want to learn as much as I can.
That's so nice. And it's funny because every time we watch something like Conjuring, uh, here in Brazil, people are talking like, "Oh, Umbanda would settle this like in 5 seconds or something," like we bring to our religion here in Brazil. We think what we would do if it happens like in our homes.
Yeah, and you won't see these things happening in Latin America. It isn't here. And I have a theory as to why that is. It's only a theory, but based on what I've seen, magic is far more prevalent in all of the cultures from Central and South America, and in Africa, and lots of Asia. So that's energy that's already being directed. Whereas Europe and North America, the energies, they don't use magic as much, very little really. And that means that those same energies get out of control. So you get the poltergeist phenomena, and you get out of control, horrifying hauntings, which can lead to death. So I think that's probably the best explanation I can come up with right now, until I gather more evidence and change my theories.
Once you're in Brazil, the end of the month, please learn about it here, and and maybe it's not a theory anymore. It's
I hope so. I'll be
yeah.
in Sao Paulo for almost 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be down in Florianopolis until January 2nd.
That's so nice. And talking a little bit about the foundation, it reminds me about the Warren Museum. There was something that everyone was talking about, especially because of Annabelle. And is it open? Is it closed? How's the museum now?
It's closed. And the truth is, I think the worst legacy that my grandparents had was ever calling it a museum, because it really isn't. It's a collection, but it was never open to the public. It was private, and it was only by a special invitation. Now they've changed local zoning laws, and nobody is allowed to visit. So unfortunately, even if we wanted to invite someone, we couldn't. It's a prison. It's a place to protect people from those energies. What I hate about it is now everybody wants to go out and collect haunted items, and they really don't understand. My grandparents had a long learning curve to figure out how to protect themselves from those things, and they were attacked often.
And have you ever been there? Like,
I grew up with it. Of course I did. I was
So,
actually locked in there when I was about 3 years old at night.
wow,
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me.
what happened?
My 2-year-old sister locked me in, and it was nighttime, and I started screaming. And luckily, my grandfather was in his office in the back room, and he came running. And got me out of there pretty fast, but it left a mark. It's something I'll remember till the day I die.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Like, uh, so you were locked in with Annabelle?
Um, I don't think so. Annabelle didn't show up until I was about 4. That's when Annabelle came home, as the movie says. Those movies, I have to tell you, they're based on true cases, except The Nun. The only thing true about The Nun is in the credits at the end, there's an actual exorcism of one of the characters. That was Maurice Theriault. And I was there with my grandparents for that one. That was one of my cases. And my grandfather had a heart attack during that exorcism. That's where he had his first heart attack. That was a deadly case, a very deadly case. But the movies themselves, the details and everything else, don't believe any of it, please. Other than the love story, that you can believe.
Uh, I'm talking about Annabelle because it's something we saw the original Annabelle, the doll that is inside the glass
Yes.
box, and it's cutest than the movie one, but it's even evil. Like, it's horrendous. I don't know, like, what it's like in real life. Do you feel like a different energy, or it's just a doll?
Oh no,
What?
you can feel it. You can feel it. It radiates evil. It does. I lived with my grandmother the last year and a half of her life, so I dealt with Annabelle a lot. Yes, I was privileged to be the one that spent my grandmother's last day with her, and that was a very special day. I was very, very happy for her when she finally passed.
And there are some religions that when a person passed away, we need to take personal belongings and, like, put a fire, or no, you don't do like anything with your grandmother stuff.
We give a lot of it away. Uh, you know, when she died, she had over 100 silk scarves. Many of them still had the price tags on them. So yeah, no, I actually carry some of their religious items with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, that's nice.
I use them in my work.
And how was to grow up with them, and how were they in the daily life?
My grandfather was a practical joker, and in the basement, you have to understand, you had to go into the basement, and then there was a door that led to a corridor that led outside to the artist studio that they turned into their museum. And so it was already terrifying just having to go into that ugly little basement. And my grandfather had turned the basement into his Halloween room. And he had it rigged so, rubber bats would fall down on my 4-year-old head as I'm trying to go down the stairs, and I'm screaming and yelling, and he's just laughing his butt off. My grandmother, on the other hand, if you've ever seen videos of my grandmother, she already seems very sweet. The truth is, she was acting very professional in those videos. She was actually so much sweeter than that. I mean, so much sweeter. I'd show up at the house and she'd be like, "Oh, hello, dear. Would you like a grilled tomato and cheese sandwich? Would you like me to bake you some cookies?" I was like, "Graham, it's okay. Relax. I just came to see you." You know, but she just always wanted to take care of everyone. Every Sunday dinner, every holiday, she would almost never sit down with us because she was running around in the kitchen, taking care of everybody else. And I was like, "Graham, just sit down. But we can get our own stuff. It's fine." No, no, no. It's okay, dear. I want to do this. So that was my grandmother.
And in your career, have you ever saw something that everyone was thinking it was paranormal and it wasn't? Can you tell me a story about it?
Oh, so many times, actually. The truth is, fear can do an awful lot, and mental illness can do an awful lot. Now, I want to caution people here too, because just because you have schizophrenia or just because you've suffered some traumas, it doesn't mean you're not being troubled by the paranormal. But we have to deal with it holistically. We have to deal with both the paranormal and the psychological hand in hand. Otherwise, it isn't going to work. Whatever it is will keep coming back because you still have left the door open. But often, very, very often, people will jump to the conclusion it's a demon. And we get this all the time. People will contact us and, oh no, I've been playing with magic and I've summoned a demon, and I'm like, all right, well, show me your evidence. And then you find out they're using crack cocaine, and they're showing you pictures on digital cameras where distortion is very easy and light flares are very easy. I had one woman sending me pictures of poop in the toilet and telling me that it was a demon. I'm like, ma'am, please. You go, well, come and look yourself. No, ma'am. No, I'm in South America. I'm not coming to Connecticut to look at your poop.
Okay.
And honestly, it is much harder sometimes to convince someone that it's not paranormal because they want it to be. That's really tough.
Because the blame is something else, right? No, it's not yours.
Yeah, well, there's orbs. Do you know what an orb is supposed to be?
No.
All right, they're just little balls of light.
Okay.
All right, they show up in digital cameras all the time. It's a natural thing, and yet everybody wants to say these are spirits. Now, real orbs, what will happen is they're three-dimensional balls of light, and they will come together, and then they will elongate to become a fully manifested spirit. And you will see them with your naked eye. So if you're just seeing them with your camera, and it's a digital camera, it's almost never a spirit. Almost never. But boy, you tell somebody that online, and they're just going to be screaming angry at you.
And do you have what's the scary story that your grandparents told you?
The scariest story?
Yeah.
Honestly, I already started to share it with you. The Maurice Theriault case was one of the worst cases ever, and it taught us so much. I was in college at the time. The very first day we were there, the man was coming under possession. He was crying tears of blood. His father had been this monster who had abused him sexually and everything else, and had even called him one day and said, Maurice, I just want you to know I love you. And then put the phone down, and while Maurice was listening on the line, he went in the next room, picked up a gun, killed his mother, and then killed himself. Killed Maurice's mother. Then Maurice started coming under attack. My grandfather said, all right, let's go to your father's grave. Tell him that you forgive him. Tell him you love him and that you want him to leave you alone. And while Maurice was at the grave crying, we all watched as he got punched so hard under the chin, he flew backwards 3 meters and flat on his back. During that exorcism, as I mentioned, my grandfather actually had a heart attack. He could have died. He was in the hospital the next morning. Maurice came under possession during it. I was there for months watching this happen and confronting this thing and when it would manifest. But what we didn't yet understand was that connection with psychology. And so we didn't get him the counseling he needed after the successful exorcism. And a couple of years later, Maurice started coming under possession again. His wife, Nancy, said, "I've had enough. Get out of the house. Do not come back." Maurice waited for her to come home one night from work. And just like his father, he used a shotgun, shot her as she was getting out of the car, blowing her arm off, dragged her bleeding into the kitchen, sat her at the kitchen table, and while she thought that she was going to die, watching his eyes slit like a snake and crying those tears of blood, at the last minute, he turned the gun on himself and blew his head off. That, to me, is the worst because it ended with death.
Okay, I'm impressed. I'm speechless. I can imagine. That's something that we only can imagine in scary movies, right?
Well, you know the one, The Haunting in Connecticut, that movie?
I'm sorry?
There was a movie called The Haunting in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
The book is called In a Dark Place. It's one of my grandparents' poorly written books. It's terrible. But that was my case. I spent 9.5 weeks in a haunted funeral home while the husband and wife were being raped and sodomized by this thing. And I came under attack many times. I was stabbed. I was burned. My partner at the time, he was chased away by something he said looked like a gargoyle. That was a pretty bad one as well.
Oh my God, yeah. What is the thing that you're most afraid in life? Like, side demons. I mean, spiders, snakes.
Cockroaches. I lived in West Africa for 2 years, and I'd have to go outside to what was a bathroom. It was just a hole in the ground with a tin cover, and I'd pull the tin cover off, and thousands of cockroaches would come out. They just, yeah, no. The supernatural doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't scare me. I don't care at all about it. If I'm honest, I don't even like the paranormal. It doesn't interest me. I don't do this for thrills. I'm upset with people who do. To me, this is God's work. I'm here to help people, and that's all.
And do you like scary movies?
Yes.
And what's your favorite one?
I'd hate to say The Conjuring because, the truth is it isn't. I like funnier scary movies like Evil Dead 2. Okay. That was a fantastic one. I love to watch that again and again.
So you don't like the Conjuring series of movies?
Oh, no. The original Conjuring movie was great. The second one I hated. The third one was okay. It was fine. I loved the first Annabelle movie. Second one took me forever to sit through, and I've never bothered to watch the third one because the idea of my mother being a child running around trying to escape Annabelle and my mother being a psychic, I was like, you know what? I can't. No. Because my mother hates the paranormal. She wants nothing to do with it. She's not a psychic. She was my mother when Annabelle came to the house. She was a full-grown woman, No, that I can't watch that one.
Okay. And The Nun, you didn't watch it?
Oh, I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet.
Okay. So it's a movie and it's kind of your grandparents, but it's not like their lives. It's not a cinebiography.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Right. No, these are real cases, but all the details are different.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say that your grandparents are frauds because people don't believe them. How do you deal with these critics?
I have found that if you try to argue with them, you just make them more excited and they want to keep pushing you farther and farther. So I don't bother. My job's not to convince anybody that the paranormal exists. My job's to help people who already are being bothered by it. I don't care. I would rather you didn't believe in the paranormal because then you probably aren't going to be bothered by it. Well, I shouldn't say that. There have been plenty of cases where the people moved into the wrong house and they had those underlying issues and something started attacking them. It just often you'll find that the father of the household is the last one to believe that anything is going on because he's also the one that's more rational and doesn't want to believe in the paranormal. The kids and the mom, they're feeling it. They know it's there. They're being bothered by it. But dad's like, you guys are crazy. There's nothing going on here.
And if you can give me one tip of how to keep demons away, what do you say?
Don't believe in demons. I don't believe in them. Whatever these things are that we deal with, I think are more likely manifested by our own belief systems. They are an egregore or a tulpa. They are a self-manifestation. And don't play with spirit communication. You're just inviting something to come to you. And if you are in a negative mind space, if you are not feeling good, you can attract poor energy. Like attracts like. My grandmother used to say that. People attract good things, and people who are having problems attract bad things.
So you don't play with Ouija board.
Don't play with that. Don't play with spirit boxes or any of these electronic toys or apps on your phone. It isn't the tool that matters. It's your intention to communicate with the spirit world. That's the problem. So don't do that. Don't mess with the paranormal. That's all. And if you do and you get in trouble, contact us.
Chris, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk with you. I guess that's all my questions, and I'm so happy. And I hope to see you here in Brazil in the Expo.
Yeah, Horror Expo. I'll be there the 4th and 5th in Sao Paulo, 4th and 5th of November. And afterward, well, we'll see. But I'm arriving on Thursday, the 26th of October. So I know that you don't celebrate Halloween, but I'll be looking around and seeing if there's anything that I might be able to participate in before the expo.
That's so nice. Yeah. So thank you, Chris, and we're waiting for you. I hope you enjoy.
You are a sweetheart. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, Chris. Thank you so much.